Joining us now in studio to break down what we saw, the two-time Super Bowl champ, host of the All Things Covered podcast, Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, it's a simple question. How do you chop down an oak tree?
Keep chopping.
One swing at a time. Jonathan Taylor chipping away throughout the entire night, and then that tree falls 67 yards, the final blow here, and what was an impressive physical performance by this Indy team. Your emerging thought is what?
Playoff football at its finest for the Colts. They understand what their identity is, and they were able to utilize that said identity for 4 quarters. If you're Carson Wentz, you gotta love what you're seeing right now because he had the luxury of having 2 bye weeks. I understand he played tonight, but technically he didn't play. Only 12 passing attempts. He did most of his work doing what? Handing off to that outstanding, prolific guy standing right behind him in the backfield, and Jonathan Taylor, a clear-cut favorite to win the MVP.
Offensive Player of the Year, no doubt. In this era of football, it's tough. I agree with you. If we're talking about value to a football team, Carson Wentz was just asked to throw the ball 12 times. The value lies right there with the man wearing number 28. You do have vanguards in the sense of Tom Brady still playing the game. Aaron Rodgers has something to say, a conversation we will have in the future, but operating in the here and now, it was also Indy taking advantage of some miscues, uncharacteristic mistakes, that is, by a Bill Belichick-led team, mental, physical, and otherwise. It's not what we expect from Coach Belichick. It's a coach that's 15-6 coming out of the bye week, heading into this matchup, and his team really just didn't look like themselves throughout this one. They did give a solid effort in the second half, but what did you make of the lackluster effort that they came out of the bye week with?
They showed up late to the party. Joe, you know, anytime you get to the party late, you're going to miss all the good music, you're going to miss all the good girls and the juice and the snacks. And that's what happened with the Patriots today. Like you said, it's something that we haven't seen a lot from a New England Patriots-led team coached by Coach Belichick. But for some reason, they didn't show up to the ball game until the fourth quarter. They scored 17 points in the fourth quarter. Think about all the missed opportunities we saw in the first 3 quarters. And because of that, it was too much to fight from behind to be able to win this ball game. So hats off to the New England Patriots taking advantage of the miscues that we saw from the Patriots, the Colts that is. And then when you think about and seeing the Colts, we saw some adversity. We saw a slow start, but we did see Mac Jones show up in the fourth quarter.
And that's kind of where I want to go next here is, you know, there are no moral victories in the NFL, but wins and losses do come on a spectrum. And the final here was a lot different than what it looked like through the first 45 minutes, as you mentioned. Can the Patriots take anything away from this fourth quarter? I know Coach Belichick's going to dig through the negative tape just as well, but is there anything they can highlight to move forward into what is a really high-profile and big-time matchup coming up?
Special teams-wise, you can't give up points. You can't allow points. We saw that today in the first half. We saw miscues from Mac Jones. And I think at some point in time, they got to find out what he does best and take the training wheels off the bike. Because we saw in the first 3 quarters, even when they were down in the first half, Joe, they just wanted to be so generic, conservative offensively. We saw more efficient play in the fourth quarter when he was more aggressive. And I think that has to do a lot with him being comfortable in the game plan. Because when he had to put his foot on the gas, it seemed like he was able to generate more positive yards, especially in the red zone. So that could be one bright spot from this loss from the Patriots. The young kid is ready to play. It's okay removing the training wheels in the first quarter.
Again, we continue to look back at the tape he's put down prior to his NFL career. That passing attack with Alabama in that Devontae Smith Heisman Award-winning season that just as quickly could have been a Mac Jones Heisman Award-winning season, it was a pass-first offense.
No question.
We'll see if they adopt more of that moving forward. And moving forward, the Colts are going to get the Cards on Christmas Day. New England, meanwhile, they can't feel sorry for themselves as they have a meeting, a re-meeting or a rebout, a second time around here with the Buffalo Bills. We know what that looked like in Buffalo. It was in a snow globe, but very much in a capsule of itself. I don't think that that's what we'll see against when these two meet in Foxborough, B-Mac. But as you look forward to that matchup, is this the film that Buffalo's going to go to and say, that's how you beat the New England Patriots?
They can go to the film. It doesn't mean they would try to execute the same film we saw tonight because they don't run the football like the Colts run the football. That's been an issue for Buffalo, running the football and stopping the running attack from opposing offenses. Remember the first meeting, I understand the conditions were very, very difficult, windy, cold, but they couldn't stop the ground and pound attack from the New England Patriots. The Colts defense today, they were able to efface that element away from the New England Patriots. So the personalities are different from what we saw with the Indianapolis Colts team compared to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's best running back is their quarterback. That's not going to get the job done against Belichick, especially seeing how well the Colts ran the football against the Patriots tonight. So we all know Belichick is going to go back to the get back to the drawing board, understand and find out what they did wrong against the ground and pound attack, and try to correct those said issues so they can perform better against a very, very important, perform better against the Bills. But this is a very, very important ball game. It might be safe to say the championship in their division will be decided next week.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out between those two, as we know one of the two will likely hoist that divisional title. Let's take a look at the playoff picture coming out of Saturday night. Now, this is a fluid situation as only one game has been contested, and we will have action all the way through Tuesday night. But as it currently stands, the Pats drop to the 3 seed after the loss, now 9-5 on the season. Colts still find themselves in the wild card position, but now 8-6, back in the divisional conversation, and one of the tougher sides to deal with right now due to that big back, Jonathan Taylor. All right, B-Mac, we take a look at that logjam picture in the AFC. When it comes to these two teams and what you saw through 60 minutes, did your opinion of either team change? Do you feel like either one of them is ready and prepared to play deep into the new year?
I do believe both teams are playoff caliber. I still believe the Patriots are a real good team as well. They just ran into a buzzsaw tonight. And I think for the Colts, understanding and knowing what their identity is, if they keep this game plan, no question, they will find a way to get into the postseason. So if you're a Colts fan, if you're a part of the organization, it's not just about getting to the postseason. Hey, they can still win their division. They can still have a home playoff game in round 1, which will be huge, especially looking at how they run the football and how well they play defense there in the Dome. So me personally, my mind is still, I feel the same about both teams. I felt this would be a playoff caliber game, playoff-like atmosphere, but I was surprised to see how well the Colts ran the ball.
Similar to the conversation that we had with the Buffalo Bills coming out and playing some good football in the second half against Tampa Bay a week ago, New England does something similar here and puts some positive things forward as they move into this big-time matchup coming up in Week 16 with Buffalo. But when you look at New England and the rushing attack and where it lacked, do you think that was more of a case of you're chasing points, we can't?
A little bit of both. Trying to do things a little differently, but they played against a defense that's pretty good. The Colts, I mean, they're not a bottom dweller in the National Football League. They've been playing stout, consistent defense, especially at home. And they were able to set the tone at the line of scrimmage, and they were able to fly around and be the most physical ball club on the football field. And that's what they've been doing. Look at this graphic. I mean, look at the takeaways. I said they were very, very opportunistic during the pregame show. Once again, that stat showed up. Look at the interceptions. They do a great job in collapsing the pocket and forcing you to be in very, very difficult third down situations.
And, we got to give flowers to a guy like Darius Leonard, who came up with a big pick in a big spot. We saw him make multiple plays throughout this game. When you have a game-changing defender like that in the middle of the field, from the player perspective, a guy who's played in the back end with some talented players out in front of him, how much easier does that make your job on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, he's an extra quarterback on the football field for the defense. He's so instinctive. He's very, very smart. He studies well. That red zone touchdown, interception was a thing of beauty because he basically dissected the play before it happened. Not to mention he's a tackling machine. So he's always been a guy that has been ball aware. Being around the football, we usually see him punching the football out to create fumbles, and tonight he was able to pick them off.
All right, we're going to take a look at some game-changing film here. Games are won and lost in these types of moments. This one came early on, but it was special teams third phase with a defender squeaking up the middle for a big-time block punt that got the scoring started in this one, B-Mac. Obviously, this is not the play that won or lost the game, but it is a tone setter. When you're in a matchup like this and you are thinking playoff-type intensity, how important is it not to just come out and set the tone through physicality, but to a play like this early in a game?
That's big. It takes the momentum away from the opposing team. It's not about creating a turnover. You actually scored a touchdown. And I think the percentage when a team has a defensive touchdown or a special teams touchdown, it's an 85% chance you win the ball game. And that stat is super accurate. And we saw how that was able to jumpstart this huge win for the Colts. And that has been their calling card. They've done a great job in scoring in many different ways. And once again, they were able to showcase their scoring via special teams.
Colts will close out the season with a meeting on Christmas Day with the Cardinals. They will likely be underdogs in that one as they are on the road against a top-tier team in the NFC. Then it's the Raiders and the Jaguars. Both games, no matter the location, they will likely be favored in that one. Carson Wentz, coming into this matchup, we talked about Bill Belichick taking away Jonathan Taylor and more being asked of Carson Wentz. That did not come to fruition here in Week 15. He is going to be asked to do more as we head down the home stretch and perhaps into the playoffs here. What are your concerns right now with Wentz, or is this a similar situation to Mac Jones in Buffalo where we say this is what we needed to do to win the game on this given day?
Yeah, I think they should do this every time.
Yeah.
Until a team can show that they can slow down number 28. When their offensive line is healthy, they might not have been as dominant as they've been in years past, but they can still control the narrative in a ball game. And for Carson Wentz, you have to be okay in doing so because that takes a lot of pressure away from his plate. So me personally, I don't have any concerns with what they did today. I'm okay in seeing this type of game plan from the Indianapolis Colts because I think they're at their best when number 28 is rolling.
All right, so we talked about the road ahead with a win already in pocket here in Week 15 for Indy. When you look at the road ahead for their divisional foe, the team one game ahead of them, the Tennessee Titans, it goes your Steelers here on Sunday. Yes, that one's going to go down on Sunday. 49ers, that game taking place a couple days before Christmas. Then it's the Dolphins and the Texans. So Steelers, Niners, Dolphins, and Texans. That's who's out in front of the Titans right now. Who do you give the edge here with them sitting at 9-4? Indy now at 8-6, surging with the best back in football. The Colts obviously have the belief that they can go out there and win a divisional title over the final 3 weeks of the season. Do you share that same belief?
I think the Colts can win the division, but I still believe they get in the playoffs because there's a log jam in teams in the hunt right now. The Colts have a very, very important ball game, but it definitely would help if the Titans lose one, which would potentially could happen this Sunday. But there's a lot of ball left to be played. I mean, the dynamics of this playoff picture could change dramatically by Wednesday.
So we're going to be sitting here on Week 18 trying to get you all set for what the different permutations are of who will be where and what will happen when this team wins and this team loses. But as it currently stands, this looks like a playoff football team.
Yes, they just got to keep doing what they're doing and just scoreboard watch because you saw that graphic. We have maybe those teams that were in that graphic, we have at least 3 matchups.
Yeah,
with those said teams.
Inner matchups there.
Browns, the Raiders,
like we
Steelers,
said at pregame.
Titans, Broncos, Cincy.
There's 3 teams in the AFC that don't have a chance mathematically. Everybody else well in the mix, playing some high-stakes football.
And a lot will be determined by Tuesday. I forgot because we have
we got football coming all weekend long. We're going to have you up to speed here each and every game, each and every minute here on CBS Sports HQ. We'll have full highlights and more analysis coming your way next on HQ.